Baltimore Ravens traveling to New York to take on the New York Giants here for our next game, 1 p.m. slate. What do you got as your matchup that matters here for this one?
I'm going to take the obvious one, and it's Derrick Henry against the New York Giants run defense here.
Smart.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like that's going to be what matters most in this game. Eighth most tackles for loss or no gain by the, I just totally lost myself. Derrick Henry. Um,
Yes.
eighth fewest, sorry, tackles for loss or no gain. So obviously that's someone that is going to push forward. Eighth most missed tackles versus the run. 17th in EPA per play allowed from the New York Giants run defense. So like they're not bad, but they're not great either. And you're facing a great running back, which I mean, you could go through all of the stats on Derrick Henry, but the biggest thing is he's just really hard to bring down. And when you have a team that can do so many different things with not only its running back, but its quarterback as a runner, that is going to stress any defense, no matter how good you are against the run. And like I said, the Giants have been very kind of average this year. Henry, fifth most missed tackles for us. I don't know if I said that before. Anyway, we can go through all of the stats, but you just know that he's the guy that you have to stop if you want to stop this Baltimore Ravens offense. And I don't know that I trust the Giants to do it.
I would love to have my matchup that matters be the Ravens in deep coverage this season, and how the Giants can attack it. But I just don't think they're good enough to do that. Like the Ravens were almost dead last in the NFL when it came to defending throws of 15 yards or more. They're not quite dead last. They're in the 20s. It's still a 30.1 PFF passing grade, but I just don't. I don't trust Drew Lock, especially of the inefficiencies that I saw last week, to be able to even attack a weakened Ravens secondary in that regard. So instead, I went to the Giants offensive line versus the Ravens defensive line, because if the Giants are going to have success at all whatsoever, it's going to have to be on the ground. And they have run the ball poorly. I thought that Tyrone Tracy was in for a big day, and the Giants offensive line, 91.8 run blocking grade last week, and it just did not give us really anything in terms of Tyrone Tracy production. And so I would like to see more of that. And it's a Ravens defensive line that is good, but I think certainly if the Giants play the way that they did last week and the Giants offensive line played well, you could take advantage of that. And I don't think the Giants are going to win this football game. I don't know if people are going to be really disappointed in me saying that, but if they're going to keep it close, the offensive line is going to have to play as well as they played last week. And just, big picture stuff, the offensive line continuing to play really well will mean a lot towards a lot of their free agents and their offensive line decisions and their draft decisions that they have for this upcoming offense, or this offseason, excuse me. So how the Giants offensive line plays, if they can string together a couple of good games here down the stretch, I think that's going to be really important. My plus factor is Derrick Henry. I mean, you mentioned just because he has to be. If the Ravens are in a situation where they know the Giants aren't going to score a lot of points, unless Drew Lock just comes out of nowhere, just goes full Missouri on us, unless something crazy happens, I think it's just going to be a heavy Derrick Henry game. And they're going to be very content handing the ball off to him, saying, you better tackle this guy a lot more than you have other backs throughout the rest of this season, or we're just basically going to march down the field every time. And even if we only score 21, 24 points, we know it's going to be enough to beat you. So slowing down Derrick Henry, not stopping Derrick Henry, because nobody really does that, but slowing down Derrick Henry, sort of like you said with your matchup that matters, to me is the ultimate plus factor here. What about you? Who's your plus factor?
Yeah, well, going back to what you were talking about with Tyrone Tracy, I also think that he could be a plus factor in this because we didn't see it work out this last time, despite the fact that the Giants are good when it comes to run blocking. But Tyrone Tracy has the sixth lowest stuff rate of any qualified running back at 14.1%. So he doesn't get stopped. He kind of gains minimal yards or has been gaining. He hasn't really gotten, the breaks and we haven't seen the vision out of him as far as, some of these extended runs, explosive runs, anything like that. But he doesn't get stopped. So to me, I feel like that just means that maybe it's still coming. Like Tyrone Tracy, the game that you want him to have, again, if you can't really rely on what your quarterback is going to do, maybe that could still happen. There's little stats and little things, little hints that could still happen for him. And again, if you're not getting stuffed at the line, a lot of that has to do with the offensive line and how good they are in run blocking, but you have to think that that's going to spring him at some point.
I would love to see it.
Yeah,
I
maybe
called him
that's
as a
just me wanting to see it. I don't know.
I called him as a plus factor last week,
Yeah,
and
you
they
did.
blocked well for him, and we didn't see it. I
Right.
don't. It's got to be coming. It's got to be coming. He's too talented. Got to be able to see it. I love Tyrone Tracy, so I think it's a great call out. Great call out. Great call out, Carmen. It feeds my agenda, so it's a really great call.
I was gonna say it because it feeds here.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Make sure you like and subscribe the video. And if you don't have a PFF Plus subscription, you can get one to see all the premium stats that we talked about here on the show, plus the expert betting and fantasy advice over at subscribe.pff.com. The description is also right below, so if you are not a PFF Plus subscriber, you can become one today.